Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is my morning voice. Welcome to Kings Speak, a place where men can discuss different topics with me, with us, whether it's about emotional intelligence, vulnerability, business, sex, relationships. We want to know what's on the hearts and minds of king level men. Yes, men who are evolving, men who are making the sacrifices it takes to get ahead, men who are disciplined, honorable, gentlemen. We love hearing from men like this because one, other men learn and can kind of glean from the information given by these gentlemen, but then also women, we get great insight. I know since doing these interviews, this King Speak interview series, I've learned a lot about men and myself, and how as a woman there are different things I can do and different ways that I can approach things to support men, because I have a little bit better of an idea of how they think and feel. So today we are talking about, should women pursue men? Women, should we be chasing men? A lot of the times I hear, oh, it's 2020, girl, go get your butt. And I understand. But we are going to invite in our special guest, speaker, author, radio personality, and host, Shareef DeLaCruz, to weigh in on this particular topic. So let's give it up for him as I bring him into the studio. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Hey, how
All
you doing?
right. How's it going?
It's going beautiful, actually. Just,
I'm
a little busy. I leave this week for Miami, which I'm kind of hesitant because of the pandemic, but have no choice. How's everything going with you?
Everything's good. I'm glad to be chatting with you. Kind of a long time coming. You've been on my radar. I was like, oh, I'm gonna hit him
Yeah.
up.
Thank you
Yes.
for the consideration. It means a lot to me.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, you know what the show is about. You've seen
Right.
things. You are very active on your Instagram page, which is actually where I met you and had a chance to see some of your videos. Okay. I'm like, I like the way this guy thinks. He's on it. He's ready. He's giving up the jewels and the gems for the
Right.
people.
Right. I mean, I think that a lot of people can relate to relationships, you know what I mean, on all scales. So for me, I think that being also a preacher, I think that we also have to deal with the everyday life. You know what I mean? And sometimes we don't know how to tap into that realm of the everyday life. And what's the everyday life? People got relationship issues. When I counsel people, literally, it's not just like a spiritual side, but it's like, I just got problems. You know what I mean? And I need help, you know?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, relationships. So with King Speak, I cover a lot of stuff,
Right.
vulnerability, emotional intelligence, wealth, all these things.
Wow.
But this month is relationship month, and, people
Wow.
love it. So
Yeah.
you posted something, and it was something to the effect, like, basically, if you're dating somebody, don't be trying to have your homegirls make sure that he sees that
Right.
you're trying to get at him. What's that?
Right.
First,
See,
tell us a little bit about who you are, and then please dive into the
okay.
post, what it means.
Well, my name is Shareef DeLaCruz. I'm out here in Los Angeles, and I started a movement ministry online called the Kingdom Nation. And so I do a lot of preaching, speaking all over the world, or as of right now, all over social media. Uh, that's pretty much who I am. From Miami, Florida, originally, and I'm here. But the post that I posted was about, because I counsel a lot of people, but my following is 95% women.
Oh,
And when I'm talking to them, they always come from a place of, how do I show him, right, that I want to, that I'm the one for him. It's almost like you're asking me to show you how to convince a man. So in essence, what you're doing is just, you're deciding, well, if I gotta pursue him because he's not pursuing me, then that's what I'm gonna do. And what, for me, that's backwards, right? Because you're stepping out of your realm, you're stepping out of your position, and now you might get treated like a dog because you don't go chasing after the man. The man is supposed to chase after you, right? And when
right.
you don't know your value as a woman, because you watch this, you're functioning from a place of emotions. And when you allow the emotional, Sorry. If
You
you
said,
when you allow the emotional aspect to take over you, you forget who you are. Now you're saying, hey, let me find his friends because I know he'll listen to his friends because he's not listening to me. So I want his friends to help him see who I am. But the problem is you don't see who you are. So how can he see who you is? Because you now is saying, man, I am now the pursuer. So you don't have to come after me because I'm gonna come after you. You now give me no option other than to watch you versus because it's no longer a challenge. So now I'm gonna watch you be a fool because I know now I'm no longer gonna come after you.
and
You know?
this is why I love talking to men, because
Uh-huh.
obviously I'm not a man.
Right.
But this is straight from the horse's mouth. This ain't me
Right.
being like, oh no, girl, you should do this, or fellas, you should be doing that. This is coming from you, somebody who's in
Right.
it, does it, studies what's important, all of the
Yes.
things. So I did a poll on my
Mm-hmm.
Instagram just for fun.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
61% of people said yes, women should pursue men.
What?
And I don't know if it's just the people following me. I'm
Oh
like,
my
what is
God. Oh my God. What is this world coming to?
61%? Yeah.
But see, here's the deal. If a man allows you to chase him, he's no longer a man to me. Because if a man allows you to chase him, then he's a boy. Because men are not turned on by a woman pursuing him. But excuse me, gets more excited with the pursuit of the hunt, with the challenge of going after the crown jewel, right? But if there is no challenge, and I'm not saying be a difficult woman, but if you're not making me work for something, how can I appreciate it? There's
That.
no way possible. Because now that's why you see a lot of women who are vulnerable, right? And they do everything this man says, but then he leaves her anyway. But then you find out he in another relationship. She wasn't planning that. She made him work. And now the man you wanted him to be in your relationship, he has now become in that relationship because she know her value.
Woo!
I'm just saying.
People don't want to hear that.
Nah, they don't want to hear that. But it's the truth. I've been there.
You're right. But so where is it that we're getting confused? Because like I shared in the beginning, a lot of people now, the narrative is, oh, it's 2020. Girl, you need to slide in them DMs. If you want him, go get him. Blah, blah, blah. How does that narrative kind of mess things up for women without even knowing?
Well, the problem is we base our relationships off of a year, right?
Okay.
Who in the heck based their standard off of a year?
Right.
So because you in 2020, right, in the world of social media, that means it's time for you to devalue yourself. That means for you to now not allow a man to do a chivalry and open your door. You telling me that because the year has changed, your value for your self-worth has changed? That makes no sense to me. And I think that the ball has been dropped somewhere because I hear a lot of women saying, it's just 2020, slide in the DMs. If my man don't ask to marry me, I'm going to ask to marry him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, then that means that you don't even know a man because you don't even know yourself.
Wow.
Because there's no way that you will put your life and your standard and your value based upon this social, right? This whole, how can I explain? It's like we base our self-worth based on what society is doing. So if your self-worth is based on what society is doing, then you're going to say, child, it's 2020. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and slide them DMs. Let's be the more aggressor. Don't give the man the ability to chase. Don't give the man the opportunity to hunt, right? Don't give the man the opportunity to respect me and honor me and adore me. Let me show him that I'm going to do that for him, right? And then what happens is you enter into the relationship and there's a void that's missing because you already set it up. You set the groundwork. So guess what? You never even allow him to be the leader. You led out the gate. And now you're looking for him to lead, but no, he's chilling. He's vibing with your vibe because you never allowed him to be the man or to prove that he can even lead you somewhere because you were so caught up in your emotions and feelings on it's 2020. I'm tired of being single. It's quarantine. I need a quarantine, babe.
Because that's what it really is. It's
Yeah.
2020. I'm tired of
Yeah.
being single. And,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't mind, this is definitely about men and where they come from, and we'll dive more into that. But obviously, as a woman, it's a mindset. It's almost a
Yeah.
lack and a scarcity mindset when we say, oh my God, I'm getting older. I'm seeing all these people, this and that. And,
Right.
I'm not there yet, blah, blah, blah. I better go get mine. It must be
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not putting effort. He ain't going to find me on my couch. I did this and that and it didn't work. So to me, I think it's a subconscious panic response.
Right. Absolutely.
On one hand, yeah.
Right. Right.
I've never
But
seen it work when a woman pursues a man.
it don't. And especially, and see, here's the deal. Not even just so much because see, a man could pursue you, right, ladies? He can pursue you, but then what is he bringing with that pursuit? Because the thing about it is, I can pursue a woman all day long, but if I have no vision for my life, her life, and where we're going, then there's no point in my pursuit, right? Because I can pursue you being broke. I can pursue you have a impoverished mindset. I can pursue you, as being a boyfriend with never having a husband mentality. And that's the
Right.
thing. A lot of ladies that I've learned, even in counseling them, is that they are expecting a lot of boys to be husbands or a lot of boyfriends to be husbands. That's impossible. Because again, it's like you said, it goes back to the paradigm. How was this person brought up? Did you do your check? Did you? And I'm not saying, well, I don't want to be so difficult. No, it's okay to grow with somebody, but that person have to have the ability and the desire to change and to shift. Not because you forced them, but because they already had it and y'all complimented each other, right?
Yes.
And that's how it's supposed to go. But you cannot find yourself in a position with the whole panic chasing and the loneliness, because now I would rather be lonely for 10 years than to have 10, 20 years of pain. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather figure it
Absolutely.
out for the next 10 years, because once you tap into that soul tie with that person, sometimes it's hard to break. And time don't heal all wounds. A person that wants to heal or be healed will be healed in time. So we got to be very careful with saying that time, because I know people that's been divorced for 30 years and she's still married to her husband, and she married to that pain. And she has never allowed herself to open up to love again because of the cheating and the lies and the deceptions. And he married to somebody else, the one that he was cheating on, So it's a lot.
Whew.
It's a
It
lot.
is a lot.
And we don't think about that. We think it's, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go. Like, I'm
No,
listening.
I'm good. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's very interesting because, I was able to talk to a neuropsychologist about what happens to us in our bodies when we find ourselves attracted to someone. So I think there's all of these things that are going on with our bodies, our minds, our hearts,
Chemical
that we're not
imbalance and
even
all that.
privy to. Yeah, we don't even know what's going on. So we think this is love, or we think this. We talked about bonding over trauma and chemicals in our body.
That's deep.
Yeah, and there's you think,
That's
you're having this deep conversation with somebody over, you both have a sister who is, mentally unstable or whatever, and you go through these things. Now, boom, you're in a relationship because you're bonding, so what do you think it is about the lack of real education it takes to enter into a healthy relationship that people are missing out here?
I think that the biggest issue that I'm finding out is that YOLO, right? Is that people always say you only live once, right? And so watch this. You said something about trauma earlier, and you bonded over trauma. So let's just say, like, if I found you and we connected because you had an ex that did you wrong, and I'm a male, and I can say, hey, my ex did me wrong. We bonded over sharing stories, and I was there to comfort you. You were there to comfort me. But guess what? That's all it was supposed to be. But what happens is, in the moment of disparity and in the moment of YOLO, shoot, she a good woman. I see her value. Because what happens is self-manipulation, right? And so we're self-manipulating ourselves and saying, hey, She gets me, I get her. No, what y'all both got was y'all got each other's moment. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got each other's brokenness. And so she understood my pain, I understood her pain. And what happens is now you enter into a relationship and it goes well. But y'all never actually healed. What happened was two broken people got together and they tried to heal each other. Instead of understanding, hey, you know what? I got a good friend right now. I'm not gonna let the trauma or the emotional feeling of this thing force us to do anything. Let's establish some friendship and let's make sure that we both are whole people. If we do decide to enter into a relationship, let's become whole. And a lot of people, from an educational standpoint, is they don't understand baggage. They don't understand being whole. They don't understand that a person cannot complete you, right? You have to first take the steps to also get counseling. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't want to get counseling and to also be honest enough to admit that I got problems. Even me talking right now, I can educate anybody and tell you about great relationships. That does not mean if you and I date, we won't have an issue.
Of course.
Because everybody comes with something. But you have to be honest about it, and you got to be willing to work towards it as far as the healing and the releasing of whatever that may be, and also come to a compromise. Because some things about a person may never change. And do I love you enough to accept you that this might not ever change about you?
Correct. And you already know how that goes with women, because the first thing we think
Right.
we could do is change somebody or love somebody into being better.
Can't change a man.
I was in a
You
relationship for 5 years with somebody thinking that he's young, we're young, we love each other, we're friends,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And I don't blame him. You know, I always look at myself when it comes to these things. But it's like, I pretty much went through emotional trauma for 5 years. And then now I gotta come out of this and figure out. I'm younger, so I'm like, I'm good. I'm gonna just work. I'm good. Like, I'm good. You know, years go by and I'm like, oh, my heart's broken.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
I had to ask.
How did I get here?
What'd you say?
How did I get here? You looking up and I was like, how did I get here? Oh, that's what happened. Okay. Because you ignore it. A lot of us hide our pain for the moment. For the moment.
Yeah.
Then it get exposed in a trigger. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh, I didn't know he was like that. Oh, because you didn't do your research.
Oh no,
you didn't ask your questions.
We know.
But because of the desire of wanting to be held and loved, you ignore the red flags.
Totally. Every time.
We've all done it, because guess what? I was in a relationship off and on for 7 years. You know, and I was like you. I was like, well, I think she's gonna change. You know, I'm a man of God. I mean, she knows I'm a good man. But do you know that you're a good man, right? You know, and I'm sitting here like, you know, all this time. And here's the deal: as a man, and you ladies can relate to this, I didn't recognize that I was looking for her to do something for me that I was looking for as a child. I was looking for validation and acceptance.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, my father wasn't there, and my mom never showed affectionate love, but she loved us. But my mom was a tough woman, right? And so I had to recognize, wow, like, she have traits of my mom. So maybe she can validate me. You know what I mean? Maybe she can accept me, and not watch this, unbeknownst to me, I'm really looking for my mom to love me through this person. And so I'm willing to go through the process, because I'm saying whatever it takes, I'm gonna endure this because I know she's gonna change. No. When a person show you who they are, believe it. Believe it. That does not mean somebody cannot evolve, but again, you gotta have the desire. But I have to also look at it as, wait, she's not for me. She's not my mom. She can never give me the love that I was desiring. Why? Because I had to love myself first. And number two, she wasn't for me. And that's something that we got to acknowledge. We want to beg people to give us a love that they was never equipped to give us.
What?
You're not
Never
for me. Yeah.
It's very true. And it's like, so what you're talking about, I feel like this is definitely a grown folks conversation. And, you know, being at least in our 30s, well, I don't want to put you, but I'm in my 30s.
41.
people are having children before this age. People are getting
Yeah.
married before this age.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah.
I feel like we look at the divorce rates and be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is happening, blah, blah, blah. But what I really think is happening is the stuff that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
which is also important why I'm doing this series, because I feel like there should always be a platform for even men to understand and get the language and
Mm-hmm.
tools it takes to
Right.
kind of move forward. So I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
One, when do men, I mean, humans all have their own way of evolving, but
Right.
when do
Right.
men get that thing in their mind that's like, oh, I have trauma, I need to heal, or I need to go to therapy, or I need to look at things? That's the first question. And then number two, so I don't forget,
Mm-hmm.
is when do men get the courage to pursue a woman that is right for them? Because sometimes I feel like men move back from someone they think they have to upgrade for. Like, oh, if I date her,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm gonna have to do the most. Can I really do that? I don't know.
Right.
Like, never mind. So yeah, those are two questions that I
All
had.
right. So if I can remember the first one exactly. So the first question to answer it is this: I believe that men as a collective is when we see ourselves, and sometimes you don't see yourself until you date yourself, right? So,
Yeah.
for instance, for me, I didn't recognize that I had issues and problems until I met the woman that looked just like me. And so every question that a lady was asking me, I was asking her. It was like role reversal, right? And so it don't take always you dating somebody else, but it takes you to stop and look at yourself, right? And sometimes that does not happen for men until we went through multiple relationships, multiple experiences, multiple trauma, and moments where we say, dang, like, and you have that aha moment. It literally happens at a random time. You could be in your late 20s, your early 30s, your mid, or what have you, but it's going to happen,
Right.
especially if you desire to be loved and married, right? And if you want to evolve, it's going to happen. It's going to hit you at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe from a consensus, I say it'll hit you around mid 30s. Sad to say, but the majority of the time, because that's when it really started hitting me, mid. And I was like, wait a minute, like, dang, like, because even though I knew better, it wasn't affecting me because mentally I wasn't grown because I was still in my yesterday. I
Mm-hmm.
was still living out my younger years in my mind. That's why you see men who are 30s and still acting like they 21. You know what I'm saying? Because they're still living out those years and trying to say, well, I don't know if it's time yet. And I'm talking about guys who just really have tried to look at themselves. Some men just don't ever look at themselves, to be honest with you. So I think it's just a matter of the person who have the desire to change. Um, the other question was about what? Say one more time.
So great answer on that. And it makes perfect sense. So thanks for sharing that.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully, yeah. Okay. So that's on that. So I was wondering about the confidence in men. Do you feel like men have the confidence to like, because a lot of the men who answered
Mm-hmm.
and said, there was a lot of men who said that women should pursue men. And I'm
Right.
going to have to look at the list again and be like,
Right.
but do men have the confidence in this day and age? Because we talked about the woman knowing her value and her worth and not settling
Mm-hmm.
for things. And we get confused about that until we grow into a space where we know our worth
Mm-hmm.
and our value. So when it comes to a confidence standpoint, men, y'all got to be confident to go out, and get a woman. So yeah, is there
Let me tell you
confidence
what's
there?
crazy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what's. I know somebody right now, and this is God honest truth. A male, handsome guy, got a lot going for himself. Got an office in Beverly Hills, the whole nine. What happened is he compared himself to social media.
Yeah.
Watch this. And you look at the women on social media and you see the lifestyle that they're living, sponsored by the men that are never being exposed. And you compare yourself to say, I don't have it like that yet. because
Yes.
subconsciously you're saying that women nowadays, they only want men that can make them fly over here, jump on the boat over there, driving this Rolls Royce, etc.
Wow.
So you're thinking, so what happened, my point is, so he don't even have the confidence to even approach a woman in all of her beauty, because he's already prejudgmental because of what society 2020 have showed us on social media. And
Wow.
so for me, I think that it takes you as a man to know your worth, once again, to know your value. And that happens, again, even with this, for you to look at yourself and to affirm yourself. Because a lot of times, like myself, I never had a father to affirm me and to tell me who I was. So for me, I had to look to God, and I had to look at myself and say, hey, you are beautiful. You are a powerful black man. You can get a wife. You know what I'm saying? You will. So I had to tell myself, every generation of curses is broken in my life. Low self-esteem, poverty, divorce. It stops with me. I will have children. I will be married forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it takes you having that hunger, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to wake up to the same, like, the monotony has to be broken, right?
Yeah.
Something has to change, or you will find yourself living the same life that is perpetual that every other male in your family has lived. And that's what I looked at. Like, in my family personally, I didn't have a male or any men who were role models to show me how to treat a woman, to show me how to love a woman. So I had to have that desire. What does it mean to walk on the outside of the road, you know, and let her walk on the inside? What does it mean for me to stand behind her on the elevator as we're going up? And what does it mean for me to stand in front of her, right? Because I understood, especially if she have on a dress, I have to protect, you know what I'm saying, what's under her dress. So therefore, let me block any perverts for looking up, and also let me break her fall. So it's so many different things that I had to teach myself that no dad ever taught me. If you married, you always sleep by the door because you protect your wife. You know what I'm saying? Like when you
Yep.
walk on the side of the road. I mean, you know, you're walking on the outside to protect her consistently. Why? Because she is the jewel. She is the value. You are her protector. You know, so again, it takes you to know who you are. And that comes with you looking at your failures, admitting that I've messed up at times, and also me admitting that I hurt some women, right? Like that's the key. Because
Wow.
why didn't I marry that girl? So I took the lessons that I heard that women complained about me with, and then applied it to my later life. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's perfect. And it's so, again, like I say, I'm learning when I'm on these too. Like,
Yeah.
I think it helps women when we listen into you guys talk because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all of that stuff you just said, we expect you to know that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's an expectation that you know that stuff.
And that's the truth. But guess what? I didn't know it. And
Yeah.
it's so even with talking about those expectations, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times the reason why women are disappointed is because y'all already have this idea, right, of y'all man. Do you understand? We ain't thinking about that. Like y'all thought about this as a child. Y'all like, yo, you know, my husband is gonna be, he's just beautiful family, the white picket fence, the whole nine. I'm trying to figure out when my first experience was gonna be. You know,
Right.
it's like not even a wife. I didn't, because you got to understand something. I didn't see wife, not even in my household. I saw,
Mhm.
you know, my friend, you know,
Right.
as
Right.
so it wasn't the whole thing of the expectation. And sometimes I tell women, don't go in, and hear me when I say this, and I'm gonna break it down real fast. Don't go in with your expectations on somebody else. Go in expecting them to be who they are, right?
Yeah.
Because if you expect them to be who they are and they expect you to be who you are, then you're not setting yourself up for disappointment. And so what you now do is you say, hey, let's help each other grow. What areas in your life that you need to be helped with, I'll help you. And I'm gonna tell you the areas of my life that I need help with, help me. And if we both can commit to that, you'll now see him learning how to, you know, go and open the doors and, you know, don't sit down until you pull her chair out. Like all these things I learned these things in my past relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like honestly, like
Right.
because I didn't know it, but she required it, but she didn't force it on me. She allowed me to develop it. There's a difference.
That's good. That takes a level of maturity. So
Yeah.
that's
And,
awesome
and-
for her. She did her work.
right, but watch this. Watch this. Let me show you something though. When you, well, let me say this. She required it.
Yeah.
I had to develop it fast if I wanted to keep her.
Right.
She didn't demand me, but she required it. And so the thing is this: she never lowered her standards. She never forced it on me. She just made it clear this is what I desire
Yeah.
from my husband. And
Right.
me at that moment, I'm thinking about, yo, I want to be her husband. So my whole thing is this: it's okay to not so much say this is what I'm expecting from you. You could just say, you know what, because it's wordplay. Think about it, people get caught up in the wordplay.
Yes.
Listen, I like when my man, just throw it out there, hypothetically, when he opens the door for me. You will know, ladies, at that present moment, when you throw something out there, if this man is one for you. Because guess what? Y'all speak a language that y'all speaking, and y'all always telling us how to be. I'm telling you, like, y'all always saying what you desire. If a man is not paying attention, he ain't the one. Because a woman will always tell you what she likes.
All the time.
Not that she's forcing it on you, but if she just say, I just love a man who brings flowers sometimes.
Yeah.
Fellas, pay attention to what she's not saying, but what she's saying. Because just because she didn't put your name in that space, if you're desiring her, then I advise you to go get them flowers.
Right.
And keep it up. Maintain it. You know what I'm saying? If she likes a man who open doors, then you open every door. Not just the car door, the door, when she want to get out the car, when she, don't even let her touch the knob. Like it's all about paying attention. I think that men and nowadays, men and women don't pay attention to each other. And that's why they fail at relationships. Because you got to pay attention to the subliminal things.
Yeah.
Because again, of course, I have expectations for my wife, right?
Yeah.
I'm not married yet, but I have expectations for her. But guess what? I'm not going to force them on whoever I date. Because at the end of the day, my wife will meet the very things that I have in my spirit, right? Because
Right.
I understand that we're connected. And so you'll share the same sentiments, right? Like, for instance, if I'm working all day, it's not my job to expect my woman to have food on the table for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, to be honest with you, what is she working?
Right.
Right? Will you now make a sacrifice and say, well, I beat her home, let me cook? Or will you say, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm waiting she come home and cook.
Right.
It's all about perspective. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that's amazing. Like, you brought up so many good points, and it's very true. I think just listening to you talk and put it out there gives people a lot of space for understanding. And so I do have a comment in the chat I wanted to get to.
Okay.
So Max Sunny Rose, she was like, in regards to chasing men, sometimes there's no tribe and tradition to guide our choices. Tradition ain't always a bad word. Sometimes it keeps you from bumping your head. And I have to agree. I always say there's freedom and boundaries. Obviously,
Right.
I was raised Christian. And, I try to practice all the things to the utmost of my ability, the majority of the time.
Right.
And people, I can tell that religion angers people sometimes and things like this. So when it comes to, because they feel like you're restricting them, when I'm like, no, there's so much freedom in boundaries. Like, for example, if I meet a man and he knows I'm not having sex, really, if we have that understanding, I now have freedom to be super flirty. Now I have the freedom to not, because I know he knows me touching you like that or flirting with you doesn't mean that ain't bedroom signal. But at least because I gave you that boundary, we can. So how do you think spirituality and religion plays a part in how we're dating, especially when it comes to the pursuit in these times?
Okay, so this is what I would say about, I don't necessarily believe in the whole religion aspect, but I believe in the relational, spiritual aspect of it, right?
Yes.
Because religion, I would say, turns you away from dating because of these falsehoods that they project upon you that have nothing to do with God, in my opinion. But spiritual, I think is very spiritual, and I think that a lot of people have to recognize that, because just as much as like when you lay down with somebody, right? You just intertwine your spirit with that person.
Yeah.
That's why it's called soul tie. That's why now, you know what I mean? Like, so when you, because I don't want to get too deep into it, but once you understand that your relationship is spiritual, then you have to attack it or go after it with the positive right spirit. You know, whether you want to believe in a higher power or not, that's your choice. But everything about this thing is a spiritual life, right? And so I want to connect to you not from a physical standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint.
Right.
Because anything from a spiritual place, I personally believe, lasts forever. Because, for instance, flesh standpoint, meaning if I see you and I'm just like, you're beautiful, you fine, you got a pretty face, nice lips, nice eyes, cute shape. I just described your external.
Yep.
That's all I did.
Yeah.
I just told you what drew, like what grabbed my attention.
Right.
But that don't keep me. That makes me want to make love or have sex or whatever the case may be. But
right.
Guess what? I can have sex with you and have no feeling whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But guess what? I can connect you from a spiritual standpoint and have a deep conversation after conversation and be more connected to you than we ever did by having sex with never even touching you. Right? And so that's why you have to be very careful with your conversation, ladies, because your conversations will have you thinking that a man is your husband because it sounded good, because you opened the door of your mind, which also transcended into your heart, right? And now you're like, oh my God, I got butterflies just through the conversation. So it plays a major role. If you don't recognize it, I'm telling you, it plays a major role. It plays, to me, every role, everything.
Yeah.
For something that is meaningful. Now, if you just want to, do your thing, then by all means, you jump out there, no spirit with. But when you're looking for something meaningful, when you're talking about everlasting, when you talk about marriage and whatever, it's a spiritual thing, 100%. Because
I agree. I love that answer. And while you were talking, I was thinking what also comes to mind when we think tribe is because we know. Let's see, how do I say this? So men, a lot of the times what I feel like I'm finding out is they're very cool with and open to taking advice from their friends, their homeboys. Right. So if your homeboy, all of a sudden y'all group together, you're doing whatever, he decides to become a minister in training, let's say. Now he's got all these little downloads and little things to say, maybe his boys are listening. When it comes to tribe and having accountability, are there increased levels of conversations that men are having with each other when they see like a dude maybe way out of line and how he's emotionally or mentally manipulating a situation or not being honest in any kind of way? Because I feel like I'm asking because the reality is, no matter where you are in life, eventually, if you do want to settle down, sometimes a lot of the stuff we go through with men, and each other, we're breaking each other down on this journey and in this process, and we're bruising each other up. And then when we're all actually mature and it's just like you beat up, things is aching now because you done went through. So is there increased levels of accountability discussion amongst men when it comes to how to handle a woman's heart?
Let me say this to you. And then I'm going to answer that. When it comes to men opening up to their women, sometimes there's ego in play. There's ego and pride because you have to always appear to be strong, right? Or you have to be prepared to be this protector. So guess what? But in private, I'm going to my friend and I'm saying, hey, dude, I think I effed up because I just said it to my girl. I ain't even apologize, man. And I know I should have, but I just had to stand my ground. So yes, we have private conversations of repentance, of how do I approach this? How do I talk to her? When you love, not just when you having a fling, okay? But when you really love this person, you are having some of the deepest, honest conversations with your boys that your girl will be surprised about. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to lose you, but our pride sometimes put us in a position that we reject you. And so although you might be saying the right thing, I can't agree with that because my pride is in the way. But I'll go talk to my boy and he'll tell me, you was wrong, right?
Mm.
So if you ever notice a man might come back to you, not even the same day, but a week later, remember we had that problem? I just want to tell you, I'm sorry. It takes him some time to deal with himself.
Right.
It takes him some time to process that thing because men don't forget. We have ego sometimes. I mean, we have this grudge thing sometimes too, where we hold on to him. I ain't saying nothing to her, man. She dead wrong because we want you to be wrong. But truthfully, you are like that. You're like that. That God voice in a sense, who are saying a lot of things that are correct, but we don't want to be honest and accept it. And that's the truth. And so, yeah, our friends correct us when we have the right friends. So
That
again,
part.
your tribe got to be a tribe who understand. That's why I always tell people, you got to have people in your life who knows your purpose, your destiny. Because
Yeah.
when they know your purpose and destiny, then they'll always speak to that.
Yeah.
Because if I have friends in my life who don't know my destiny and purpose, and I say, hey, I don't. Well, for instance, if I tell one guy I believe that Miss Alexander is my wife, right? I know she is. Blase, blase, blase.
Right.
If I'm talking to somebody who don't know that vision, man, there's so many fish in the sea, dude. Don't worry about that, man. She always nagging on you, man. Go holler
Right.
at the next girl. Remember old short that we saw that day and you turned her down? Nick, I got her phone number. He don't know your destiny. But somebody who knows your bro, you got a beautiful girl, man. Like, listen, you gotta fight for her.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That's very true.
Destiny people and people who just cut in the moment. So it depends on your tribe.
I mean, there's a lot of nuggets in that. And so
Yeah.
for men, of course,
Uh-huh.
it's who you're around, how they understand, how they communicate. But
Exactly.
do you think you have a tip or two of how a man can discover he's allowing his pride or ego to get in the way? What does that sound like? What
When
does
you
it
always
feel like?
rejection. When you
Rejection.
always have to oppose what she says.
Okay.
Right?
All
And so
right.
a lot of times when you find yourself not listening, but responding, right? You're listening to respond, but you're not listening to comprehend. That's the first notion of arrogance and pride and ego. Because you're not literally hearing her heart. Because a lot of women are not trying to nag and not trying to be a complainer. But the problem is she's frustrated because for so long you never heard what she was not even saying, but what she was saying it. Because sometimes we're so literal that we're only focusing on what you're saying at that moment, but we don't hear the true essence of your heart,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Mm-hmm.
the heart is always speaking non-verbally.
Right.
If we're going back to paying attention. And
Right.
so if you find, and then the other thing is this, if you find that she's constantly repeating herself to you over the same thing,
Woo.
the same issue, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That lets you know that you're not even humble enough to be in a relationship because people got to realize in order to have a successful relationship, you got to be humble.
Yeah.
Because guess what? It humble brings about compromise. So
Yeah.
if I don't agree with you, but because I know that I love you, I have to compromise to make this thing work.
Right.
But when it's my way or the highway, that's called selfish. That's called arrogant. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of relationships wind up coming to.
Yeah.
One-sided relationships. And if you think your relationship is one-sided, then that's like the third tip. Because you cannot have a successful relationship when what she says don't matter, but everything you say holds weight.
Right.
That's
Like,
not how it works.
yeah, like how you get
She
so
has a
called.
voice.
Yes.
Right. Right. How you get so qualified. Yes. But also I'm gonna say this though. Because some women don't like confrontation,
Mm-hmm.
they will start to voice themselves,
Mm-hmm.
but then shut up. Right? Now watch this. You cannot shut up and then blame him because you shut up.
Mm.
If you want to be heard, don't worry about confrontation. We're about being heard. And that's not being nagging, but that's saying, listen, no, you're going to listen to me. If you're going to be with me, you're going to listen to me. And so don't find yourself always shutting up to say, well, one of us got to dumb ourselves down. It's not dumbing yourself down by speaking. Because I remember listening to T.I. and Tiny one day, and they were talking about their relationship. And he was like, well, it was your fault. It was your fault. You the one didn't voice what you was going through or what you was feeling because you was afraid of my response.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be so afraid of the response.
Right.
Because now your heart gonna respond brokenness, hurt, pain. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather you tell me something versus my heart expressing it, and I'm really not in a deep dark depression.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing. You know, I just think that you got to be very careful with dumbing yourself down, ladies, for the sake of trying to save a relationship. Because guess what? If you speaking will damage it, then I'd rather damage it. Because I know I'm speaking something that a woman ain't gonna say nothing that she does not truly mean. That's something I've learned. I'm not saying women are perfect, but if a woman has a complaint or something, she is not gonna express it unless she really thought it out carefully. Okay?
It's true.
And she probably even confided with somebody about it. But even if she didn't, she thought about it with herself, and she finally said it. And so my suggestion is, don't always have a rebuttal, fellas. Sometimes just listen and let her speak.
Yeah.
The entire time. The entire
I can
time.
appreciate that.
The entire
so
time.
let's talk about this. I mean, I feel like you covered it all so well. What do you feel? Let's see. Okay, because men, gosh. One of my friends just went through this. I hate to put her on blast, but y'all not gonna know who it is. I knew, first of all, she had a moment where she's like, she broke up with someone and she's like, I just need time to myself. I'm not doing nothing. Goes to Vegas, come back. I met somebody. I'm like, girl, you just said 2 days ago. So that for me, I was like, I was like, he's not, it can't. Then she shared with me how he was helping her do something and it seemed very chivalrous. There was that little inkling of like, oh my God, he's a gentleman, blah, blah, blah. But then afterwards she asked him, so you're not going to ask for my number? So to me, that feels like pursuit. Is that pursuit or is that just a small little flirty quip? Because it surely didn't work out. The man was not ready for half of what she had to offer.
That was your sign. If he didn't ask for your number, you don't have to put yourself out there and say you're not gonna. Don't ever insinuate. Don't, because also that was manipulative on her part, right? Because at the end of that, you wanted something, but you wanted him to ask you, so you put your desire on him, and you're gonna get what you deserve from that situation, because that ain't how it works. No matter what. You got to allow him to say, even if y'all walk off and you be like, man, I'm gonna walk slow. I just want to see. If he never say nothing, you keep it moving. Yeah. Because the right man ain't gonna let you walk away without trying to get your number, your information, your Instagram, your something. And you don't have to slide or try to find him on social media to slide his DM. You gotta do that. I'm telling you, man, like ladies, do y'all understand? Let me tell you something. I tell people this all the time. Women have the ability to make or break a man, but yet y'all always find yourselves in a victim position. Yeah. When we cannot live without the woman. Y'all have so much power, trust me. I say this all the time, whether you believe in God or not, I do. You got Adam, who was walking with God before Eve, and the minute she came, he disobeyed him.
He was like,
think about it. She disobeyed him. I mean, he disobeyed him because of the woman. That's how much power. I ain't trying to, put no, bad stuff, but y'all got power. Right. You got a dude, Samson in the Bible, who, nobody knew his strength. He told the woman. Because y'all make us weak. Hear me.
Right.
That's why men, to be honest with you, most men are afraid to really open up their hearts. Because when a man opens up his heart to a woman, he becomes so vulnerable that you discover his weakest area.
Yeah.
You
That's
understand?
what vulnerability is.
Exactly. And so what happens is, watch this. That's why a lot of men or boys have cheated in life, because I'd rather not give one woman that much power over me. I'd rather spread myself all over the place. That's why I don't have this type of commitment, because I know her, I know her, I know her, I know her. So I don't have to give myself to one person to get what I need, because
Right.
that's a vulnerable and dangerous place for me. Because I
Right.
like the way I'm living, right?
Right.
So I'm just gonna keep making deposits in all these women. I mean, I'm just saying that's kind of what it is. I'm gonna make all these deposits. I don't have to commit, because guess what? They're not making me work for it. She don't want to pursue me. She don't want. I knew she wanted me more than I wanted her, and she got a fat butt. So I'm gonna do my thing.
Exactly.
Because I'm telling you, before I became who I am today, I was that dude. I was in the music industry. I traveled the world. I've had women. I mean, literally, if I point my finger and say, "Come here," she coming back with me to the hotel with no pressure.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And so when that happens, you almost say to yourself, "I kind of like this better than commitment." 'Cause it ain't no stress behind it. My
Correct.
heart ain't in it. You know what I mean? I have to put no work. I don't have to buy her no meals. I just took you to the hotel.
Right.
That was it.
My
That,
God.
that, that was the goal.
Right.
So if you just showed me that I don't have to work for this, and you just gave it to me because of who I was with and the access of power that I have, oh, by all means, girl, I ain't never taking you to no movies. I ain't
Yeah.
never no, that was I'm speaking. That's what I did. That's why I had to apologize years ago, because I was ruthless. So I know how to help a lot of people, because I was that guy. I
Right.
couldn't commit.
Yeah.
I
It
could.
kind of just sounds like we all go through this. It sounds like a growth process.
It
We're not
is.
we're not getting it that
It
early. We're not
no.
getting it.
You know what
We're
though?
not.
But it's a growth process. But the other thing is this. That's why it's so important with your upbringing, because a lot of people upbringing is what triggered their dysfunctional relationships.
Yeah,
Because if you've
absolutely.
seen a healthy marriage that didn't lead to divorce or wasn't abuse, within the home, and the father was there and he was her daughter's first love and all that, what have you, she would know how to allow the man, to be in her life, and how to choose the right one for herself, right?
That's yes.
Um, because listen, man, for instance, I hate to, let's take Obama. Their daddy was the president. You think that some regular little, dude could just say, "What's up? What's up, Slim? What's up, Shorty?" or whatever it can be, like, let him get that number? No, your family background has to have some sort of substance,
Right.
because people don't recognize we also married to the family, and so whatever
Absolutely.
whatever was in that family, you now take on, right? And so that's why people have to recognize that you have to ask these questions in the beginning of your relationship. You know,
Yeah.
who are you? So what is your family like? And we don't even ask those questions nowadays. What's your
I
family
cannot
background?
believe it. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes me feel some kind of way because I'm like, and I think this is what people could be getting confused with. It's like, okay, we've gotten very
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with being casual. So
That's
it's,
it.
yeah, it's
That's
like,
it.
well, why aren't we having these
Uh,
conversations?
your next video should be casual relationships.
We
Seriously, because
are
that's
so
all that's
comfortable.
happening.
Yeah.
We're comfortable with casual relationships, because guess what? Casual relationships comes without accountability. It comes without standards, right? It comes without knowing your value and your worth. So it's like that's how everybody's living. They just winging it.
Yeah, winging it. Winging it.
That's it,
Everybody's
winging
winging
it.
it.
That's it. It's like you're winging it with no type of direction.
None.
So it's the blind always leading the blind.
Yeah. I mean, I
And we,
remember functioning like that when I was younger. When I was younger, I was like,
yeah,
he's fine.
yeah,
I'm 5'10", so I was
yeah,
like, he's 6'2", 6'2". I was like, perfect.
right,
We're good. He likes the
right,
same music as me. It's fun. He's my boyfriend. You know?
right, and that's it, and that's it. I mean, and that's what we did. I've done that. I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved
Yeah.
it to the. I mean, but then when you get old, and then again, it takes time because that
It
growth,
takes time.
you start to have different values, different
Correct.
perspectives, right? And you
Yeah.
start to see things totally different.
Yeah.
Because after a while, what you thought was so fine ain't that fine no more.
Ain't that fine? It ain't that fine anymore. I'm good.
it ain't. It ain't. The things you used to tolerate, you have no tolerance for it any
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like you would believe a lie before.
Yeah.
You done been lied to one too many times now. You're like, listen, dude, I can't. No, no. I done
Right.
been through that one too many times. But
Yeah.
the problem with some people is they've been through it one too many times and they still accept it another time.
It's true. I mean,
And that's
I've
it.
been this person, so I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
We'll start to manipulate our own minds in a way that,
Oh,
especially as a woman, you
oh,
know, and me, I happen to be very understanding. I don't really get mad like that. So it's like, oh, I
right.
understand what that happened, or I understand you're giving passes, you're
Mm-hmm.
telling yourself it's not that bad, or whatever the case. And here you are 3 years down the line, and it's like, oh my God, like I have to leave. And, so.
Mm. The, the biggest mistake a woman can continue to say is these two words: I understand.
Yeah, no,
Because a lot of women take so much BS and a man apologizes and she says, I understand.
I understand.
Yeah.
That's fine. You can understand, but still, what's gonna happen is, look, I
And,
understand,
and
but
right. So but what I'm saying is this. Every time you say I understand, you give a pass.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Because at some point, when do they don't put you in a position to I understand? Right?
exactly,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Because it's a perpetuated cycle.
right,
I know if I tell my girl this, she gonna say I understand. I know she
yeah,
gonna really, give me another pass.
right,
No, if your man ain't saying to you, and this is ladies for you, if you find yourself saying I understand, if he's not telling you no, don't understand this because this ain't right. I
yeah,
want to change. If he's not saying that, if he just allowing you to stay in I understand position, you better second guess that relationship. Because even when I'm always gonna say no. I was wrong. I don't want you to understand it because I don't understand it.
right,
Right? I got some issues and I want to know if you're willing to help me with this thing. If not, I understand if you're ready to go. Because
right,
how I treated you was unfair.
right,
What I said to you was uncalled for. Like that's what has to be understood is that we're gonna come to some sort of agreement that what I did do was wrong, and we got to figure out if you are passionate enough to make it right.
yeah.
That's
No,
it.
that's really good. You shared so much valuable information. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, I think I know for me, it's so different dating now because I don't date a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when you're dating on a certain level, I don't want to
Yeah.
say the pool gets smaller, but it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's
It
different.
it kind of does.
It's specific now,
Yeah, it's very specific. Yeah.
Right. But I had to do this topic when I saw your post because, my
Uh-huh.
friends are like, oh, but you're this, you're that. Why don't I was like, that's God's business. I'm doing my
Right.
business. But what I'm not
Right.
going to do is pursue a man. I just don't.
Never.
If he,
Never.
I feel like a man has to just because this is nature. This doesn't have anything to do with to me anything anybody told me. But
Right.
in my
Right.
opinion, because you said something earlier about I don't remember what it was, but what it made me think about was like we're so quick to function in a certain position when we're getting a
Mm-hmm.
job. Even as women, we can go out there, we want to be boss
Yeah.
babes. We got all of this
Right.
stuff going on,
Right.
and we don't play in our business, or we wouldn't go to a job and be like, oh, 20,000 a year. Like, nah, this is 80
Right.
or whatever. And
Right.
we do it like that, but we don't do that in relationships, where we're really taking the time to like slow down, think, ask questions and all of this stuff. But I do notice.
Mm-hmm.
So that thing that we talked about in our other show is kind of like a man applies for the job, and then we
Right.
let the man know, did he get the
Is
position
he
or not?
caught? Exactly. That's it.
Correct. Are you qualified? You know, are you trying to be here long term? These are all questions we ask at the job. Is this, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like,
Exactly.
you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So I just feel like it's just important to share all of this stuff, because I feel like if I say that I'm not going to pursue a man in a certain way, some people look at me like, well, that's why you single. And I'm thinking like, no,
Right.
because
No.
I don't need to go grabbing out at something to try to make, he got to see and know, and that's going to be on him. Then I got to
Exactly.
choose, and then we can talk from there.
Right.
I need
I
to be
think
clear.
I think that people made people, it sounds crazy, but people made people feel bad of having a standard.
A standard.
Like, you have a standard.
Yeah.
So if I'm asking questions, I need to know, because I'm locking myself into this thing. Because guess what? I know that if I say that I want to be with you, I want to be with you. That means I'm in this thing.
Correct.
Right? But I cannot be into something I don't understand.
Yeah. And didn't
What's
ask
wrong with
for.
that? Right. Exactly. So I need to know, do you spaz out at night? Do you, are you bipolar? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Who are you when you're angry?
Right. Are you a man scorn? When was your last relationship?
Yep.
I won't know her business or whatever, but did it go well? Because you just want to know, because you have to make a decision. Because guess what? How many people, and I hate to say this, but hear me, how many people wind up in suicide murder? Because you open your life to somebody. Y'all think dating is just a date. No, you're talking about you're exposing yourself to a stranger with the hopes to get to know, to become a family. But sometimes that person you can be dating can always still be a stranger. And you never knew that they had the ability to commit murder or to kill your kids and all this stuff. So when I talk about this, I hate to go deep, but it's real life.
It's real life. This isn't a game. This isn't
ain't no game. I want to know who I'm dating. I don't want to wake up and this woman got a knife over me because she's mad because I'm traveling over, and accusing me of cheating, and I know I haven't cheated, but it's a knife standing over me, and I'm like, I just woke up. Wait a minute, I didn't do it.
Yeah, seriously.
So you have to know who you're dating. So never allow someone to make you feel bad for having a standard and asking questions, because this is your real life and you only get one.
Right? Back to that YOLO.
Right.
I only get one, like.
Right. Now that's the YOLO I agree with.
Right. You only live once. It ain't got to be like that.
It ain't got to be like that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, you want to have fun. Relationships are not these prison mentalities, like, and just filled with pain. You can have so much fun, like, and joy and laughter and like excitement. Right? Nobody's perfect, but you can create the perfect relationship that works for the both of you.
Yes.
Just understand that. Like, don't always go in it where it's got to be so strict and you can't have fun and you can't laugh and y'all going to disagree. But guess what? Don't let every disagreement lead to an argument. Laugh about it.
Yeah.
Right? Laugh about it. Girl, all right, you win. What we doing next? Like, let it. It's literally that simple.
Yeah.
Because you're humble. But when you're not humble, you got a point to prove. See, I ain't got no point to prove. Yeah. I'm good.
That's so true.
Girl, okay, baby, you won. I love you, girl. You so beautiful. What's wrong with that? Why can't, baby, you know what? You so handsome. You so fine. I know. I ain't arguing with you no more. I just love you too much. Why can't it be that simple?
Why can't it? Nothing to prove. I love that. That's so true.
Nothing to prove.
The only reason we go in on making ourselves appear right.
Because the point you want to prove.
Yeah.
For no reason. That leads us to nowhere. It only creates a back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm too grown for a back and forth. Come on now.
Yeah.
Really?
It's exhausting. So all of this it just sounds like it's a maturity thing. So I guess we got to go through.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
You just called it out. This whole conversation is simply a maturity thing.
Yep.
That's why.
Have you?
Because when you are mature, you won't be pursuing a man. But go ahead. Have a seen what?
I was going to ask you if you heard, checked out, or read Dondre Whitfield's book, Male versus Man.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so he kind of talks about, male versus man, just because the guy is 6 foot with a beard and it doesn't make him a man.
Right.
Men serve and males look to be served.
Right. Oh,
So
that's what I would call a man to a boy.
What would you call it?
A boy. Man to a boy.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the times I feel like because of the outwards appearance, we're duped into believing all of these things about someone, again, without going through the layers. Like, maybe he isn't a man, maybe he's a male. He's just taking.
Yeah.
So I think, or whatever the case. So
and a man will always give. I'm telling you, ladies, a man will always give, and he will always try his best to provide. Even if I'm gonna leave you with this because I don't know how much time we have. But I remember seeing this quote maybe about 7-8 years ago, and it said something in regards to there was a man who had $200,000, right?
mm-hmm.
And he gave his girl $20,000 out of the 2,000, right? And there was this man who had $200, and he gave his girl $200.
Mm-hmm.
Who gave the most money? Right?
Right.
You had more women saying the one with 20,000 versus the one with $200, but they failed to recognize the man with $200,000 never gave you his last.
Right.
He never gave you his all. The one with 200 gave you the whole 200.
Yeah.
So if you got a man who has 200,000 and he just giving you 20,000, but you got a man who has 200 and he gave you his whole 200. Know your value, ladies.
Yeah.
Don't be caught up in the numbers. Look at the sacrifice. Look at the pursuit. You know what I'm just saying? It's like, because we think, oh, that's a lot of money. But when somebody gave me last.
But that's where, as a woman, automatically I'm activated. I'm going to take care of you with that. I ain't gonna run out with the 200. You made the space for me to be, a woman to show up with that.
See, that's the thing about, you just said something, right? Because if I give you $200, you know how to make the thing flourish for the both of us.
Yeah.
Right? That's a man with the vision who understands the woman. Like I always tell people that men have the vision, but the women have the details. You know what I'm saying? And so guess what? I'm going to give her my vision. Hey, go to the whole 200, babe. Because I know that you are a natural nurturer and everything that enters a woman, watch this, multiplies.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm going to trust my woman with the process of the seed, $200 that I've planted to multiply. And so that's why it is very important, ladies and gentlemen, that when you are meeting somebody, that your vision can match her detail and her detail can match your vision. Because you only want multiplication and not subtraction. And a lot of people get that subtracted heart. You know what I'm saying? Like your wholeness becomes subtracted, right? Your freedom becomes subtracted, No, you want somebody who adds to that, right? Who loves you into purpose and destiny. So that's just something to keep in mind, to always look at what it really is and not get caught up in just the superficial part of it.
Yeah. And then in the chat, men have the vision and women have the details. Yes, men have the seed and women have the increase. Yes, and the guy gave all he had. Yes, Sunny.
Yeah. I'm
chat,
serious. I mean, women are powerful. Like that's why when you look at your husband, ladies, you have to always make sure that his vision has your vision tied into it. Because that's very important.
We have to know what our vision is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because guess your husband, your vision will always be attached to his.
Yeah.
At all times. That's why you also got to be on top of your game.
Yeah.
Because when I come to you, I'm coming to you as a whole man.
Right.
So I'm looking for a whole woman. Now I'm not saying a perfect woman, but I'm saying to you, I'm on mine. I'm gonna take care of you. But guess what? If you don't have the details, then you have to make sure that you are a detail-oriented person, because it's time to take to a whole nother level. Now, if you living in up here, driving Miss Daisy, whatever, like, come on. No, you have to have a focus. You have to have a drive and ambition.
Yeah.
Because a lot of women don't recognize, like, your drive and ambition is a representation of your confidence for yourself. And so if you lack that type of confidence, perhaps it won't work out.
Yeah.
because
No,
I need that.
it makes perfect sense. I mean, I've totally enjoyed this convo. I think the
Me
last
too.
thing I want you to share, thank you,
Okay.
is for the men that are listening, or
Hmm.
yeah, what would you say are the top? What are the top 3 things that you think a man who wants to go from single and struggling to finding the right partner? What are 3 things that they got to do within themselves or for themselves to put them on the path to that?
Okay, I think the first thing is you have to look at yourself. Like I stated prior, you have to
Yeah.
look at yourself, and you have to be first honest with where you are, right? Because even for myself, I've made tons of money in the music industry, but then there's a season of my life where I got robbed and lost everything. I could not keep up the facade or this image of a strong person. I had to be vulnerable enough to recognize I was in a broken place, and it's time for me to be healed. So I took the necessary steps to first go through my healing phase so that I won't project my pain and problems on somebody else, right?
Right.
The other thing was, now I had to get a vision together, a plan. I had to literally say, okay, what is my purpose? I know I made money in the music industry, but what do I love to do? Well, maybe I can talk to people. I've been through a lot of pain. Let me get my phone out and let me just start, doing video. So what I did was, I'm telling you my true story.
Yeah.
I got my phone out one day when I was broke, didn't have no money. I was living in a room yesterday. Excuse me, in my past, renting out a room. It's LA.
Yeah.
Renting out a room, somebody didn't know. I was paying $800 a month that I could barely pay.
Mm-hmm.
But I was consistent and I was committed. And I
Mm-hmm.
just so happened to do a video. I was so broke, y'all don't understand. And I did a video that was called "The Difference Between a Husband and a Boyfriend," or I'm a husband, not a boyfriend. I did that video in 2015, and that video went viral. It was like literally world star. It was on every blog, everywhere, right? That was
Wow.
the first video that I ever did that went viral. And all of a sudden, now I got videos that have done 8 million views. Now I have people saying, hey, I want you to, can we pay you to come do this and do that or whatever? Can we, getting, checks. And I'm saying like, so I was committed. I had to look at myself and be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Also I had to separate myself
Ooh, that
because,
separation.
yeah.
Whew, we're
So
feeling
you
it
got to
now.
go, right. So you have to recognize like, you got to separate yourself from those things that can distract you from your purpose and plan. So that means I had to let go of some friendships too, because some certain friendships was not valuable to where I was going,
Right.
right? Because they would only remind me of my yesterday. So I did all of that, what have you. And then the last thing was, like I said, I stayed committed to my vision and my plan.
Yeah.
And as I did that, again, I'm gonna take it spiritual, okay? A man who finds a wife finds a good thing,
Right.
right? What I see is this: as I was pursuing and doing what it is that God has called me to do,
Right.
I know that I don't have to go arbitrarily just try to go find a wife. As I'm continuing on my pursuit while I'm walking in purpose, because I'm walking in purpose, my destiny will align itself with the one that I'm supposed to be with, right?
Yeah.
But you have to have that confidence. You know what I mean? And so for me, I had to recognize that, was I going to be a talker or was I going to be a doer? And so my thing is, don't find yourself, fellas, as talking about your vision and talking about your plan, but implement it. Put those intentions behind, put that action behind your intentions. Because everybody, women will tell you all the time, well, he got good intentions, but do his actions speak? Right? Does his actions follow his intentions, or you just know his intentions? Because I
Right.
can intend to do something. Like, for instance, I can intend to open that door, but that doesn't mean I ever opened that door. You get what
Right.
I'm saying to you? I can intend to build a mall, but if I don't put the action behind it,
Right.
so last thing I would say is just put action behind anything you say, because your words are all you have, and your
Yeah.
words are power.
Yes.
Your words are power, and in that, you will attract whoever you're supposed to be with. I promise you.
I
It's
believe
no
that.
way. Yeah, it's no way that you cannot run into your wife. You cannot run into your husband. Ladies, the thing about it is you don't have to try to be discovered. You will just be discovered as long as you are on your journey. Stop putting a time frame on it, right? Because you get discouraged because you're looking like by now. Somebody told you by now you should be married with kids. Who? Says who?
What?
My journey is different from every other person's journey. So I'm
Right.
going to embrace my journey and my process for whatever it is.
Correct.
I might have had to go through that last bad relationship to get to my now, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So it's like, so be okay with understanding as long as you're in purpose. If a husband is for you, if a wife is for you, sir, it's going to align itself, man. And it's not going to be forced. It's
Amen.
going to be organic. It's going to be
Yes.
simple.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm over here
Oh,
agreeing. We got some
it's like
yeah.
you don't have to
In the chat,
try.
they're like, preach, Shareef,
Oh,
put action behind your words. Frank Oakley is in here. I interviewed him on vulnerability.
oh,
Amazing
nice,
man and
nice.
actor. He said, yes, facts, bro. Got to make sure your core pillars are in alignment with where we're going.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. That's
so
key.
yes. So I
That's
love
key.
that. It's, I'm really proud of you for
Thank you.
doing what you have to do, picking yourself up, putting yourself back together,
Yeah.
and being a voice for others because it's very necessary. And, I was inspired to do this because, I used to
Oh
work with
man.
women's ministry a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
intuitive life coach and spiritual healers and stuff. And my guy friends would always ask me, like, when are you going to do something for us? What do we? And I'm like, oh, well,
Right.
good point. So I made this an event. We're not doing any events anymore, but to have these
Right.
conversations, I'm convinced now more than ever, like when y'all are good, we're good. Even if, you know
That's
what I'm
key.
saying? So
That's key.
it is,
Let,
regardless.
let me tell you
So,
something, and because I gotta say this last thing, ladies. If your man is not doing well, stop trying to force him to show you love. And here I'm about to say, okay? For instance, if I have a vision and things are just not functioning right now, because I am a provider, because I am a visionary, my mind right now in this season, hear what I'm saying? Season. I love you and you got to know that. But right now, I'm so focused on getting this out the door so I can birth this vision that you might think that I'm not being loving or affectionate enough. I'm just driven and I can't give you what's inside of me at that moment.
right,
Because at that moment, I'm trying my best to watch this to be or to give us the life that I saw and that I see. So sometimes don't hold me in a moment where you know that I'm trying my best to become something, but I'm having a difficulty,
right,
right? Because now you're not understanding me. Now you're interjecting and being selfish because you're wanting me to give you all this type of love, but I'm also trying to give you love, but I'm also trying to give you a life that you never saw before,
right.
right? So I'm not
Yeah.
doing well, right? Because I'm trying my best. So what I need you to do is be supportive of where I am right now, and know that I love you. I'm telling you, I talked to I've been through that. I'm telling you,
Yes.
a man who has a vision, sometimes, ladies, does not always give you the intimate love that you need in that moment immediately. Not all the time. So
Right.
just be, but if you patient, he will give you a world of everything that is beautiful because you saw it while y'all went through a rough patch. I'm telling you, just be patient,
Yeah.
especially when you know he's good.
Yeah. And see,
Right.
when you said that, I wonder too, could it be a hindrance for women to pursue men if he's in that space? And I guess it could be an interruption
It's it's
for a
called
woman to
no.
pursue.
Well, no, yeah, absolutely. So here's the deal. It's called patience,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot
Yeah.
of people are not patient.
No.
Just
This
for
is a
instance, if
microwave society. Yeah.
right, like if a man is in that space, doesn't mean you still pursue him.
Right.
You be patient enough till he starts to pursue you.
Yeah.
You can still be his friends. And guess what? If
Be
you
his
really
friend.
want this person, You don't have to go entertain somebody else in the meantime. Know your value. Don't add bodies, ladies.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, that's another conversation. You got to be
it's
careful
true.
with adding bodies. Like, be careful. If you know that this man has the potential and he's not even dating nobody, you just know he's pursuing his dreams,
Hmm.
man, you be right there by his side. Not
Right.
behind him, be by his side as his friend. And I
Right.
promise you, he gonna look back and be like, look to the side and say, girl, will you marry me? Y'all ain't never even dated.
Right.
He just said, will you marry me? It can happen.
Yeah, it's true. I
But
believe
do you
that.
believe it is the question?
Yeah.
Because what you believe manifests.
Gosh, I might have to chat with my ladies on belief. Might just be
What do
what's
you
coming
believe?
up.
Right. What do you know? That's a good topic because what do you believe? Because
Yeah.
if you believe who you are, if you believe your value, then you don't believe that you ever have to pursue a man.
Yeah.
It's all about what you believe about yourself as well.
That's interesting. Mm.
Just saying. I'm just saying. What
I
do you
mean,
believe?
that's really good.
Now
Max.
that's gonna be a gut wrencher. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's we just gonna have to keep working this process. So she put, wow, I never thought about that. That's true. Stop demanding the performance of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that
That's
saying.
good.
That's good.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we're
I
just
don't
all
want to
out here
perform no
doing our
more.
best.
I don't. No, seriously. But think about it. I love that word. Think about
Performance.
how many people in Hollywood. We live in LA.
Yeah.
How many people are performing?
All the
And
time.
then watch this. And then that pipe or that because what is it saying? Pressure breaks pipes or bursts
Yeah.
pipes, right?
Yeah.
So watch this. That pipe of performance was looking good until that pressure called quarantine came, right? And now you see a lot of marriages during quarantine are split bill.
Yeah.
Relationships are broken now because guess what? You was distracted in regular normal life.
Yeah.
Now the quarantine caused you to deal with yourself. You can't jump on a flight easily. You can't go to work all day long. You are in the house the majority of the time. And now everything that you thought was performance-wise is now showing its true colors. And so
Yeah.
now your relationships are splitting up and falling apart. Look how many people that you probably looked on TMZ in the last month who are now broken up. Who before the quarantine was all on Instagram
Boot up.
performing on the
Performing.
yachts, jumping in the waters, all that performing, right? And I'm just
Big
saying,
time. Yeah.
when that
No,
pressure
that's too
came,
much work to keep up. There's too much work to keep up a performance. It's got to be what it is, or
exactly.
like it'll be exposed eventually.
I don't want to have a performance relationship.
Yeah.
I want to have
How
a real
exhausting.
relationship.
Yeah. Right.
It's too exhausting. Because a lot
Yeah.
of people say play your role, play your part, especially in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like when I was in the industry, know your position. I'm telling you,
Okay. Yeah.
I've been told that by a woman. I'm telling you, like I'm not gonna say her name. She's a
Yeah.
celebrity. I was dating her, and literally, it's like because she's a singer, she had to mingle and all this stuff, and play
Right.
your
All the
position.
things.
Oh, yeah. And unfortunately, she still want me, but it never happened again because I couldn't perform no more.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Hollywood is a completely different beast. There's nothing
It's a
normal
different
about it
beast.
when it comes to
Yeah,
that. So
yeah. It's
I cannot look at that as the gauge. I just can't do it. It's just makes my
I'm
brain
just
hurt.
telling you. Yeah. So thank you. I'm really happy. This is good.
Yes,
This is
thank you for
good.
your time. Do you have
Yeah.
anything coming up? So guys, make sure to follow. It's I am Shareef DeLaCruz on Instagram.
Oh yeah,
Or
I didn't put it inside the thing. Yeah, it's I am Shareef.
I am Shareef. So
Yeah.
make sure to follow. You got anything coming up? A book, a speech, something we should be
I
looking
got
out
a
for?
lot coming up. Honestly, it's so much I got to do. But I'm writing a new book right now. And I'll be doing these series of live videos on this other page of Black City Girls.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be doing a lot of live with them, like for like a month straight.
I love
So
Black City Girls. I love what they're
yeah,
doing. I did one of their little fasts. It was really
they're
great.
pretty good. Yeah,
They,
yeah. I did
all
a
they're really
masterclass.
What was that?
I taught their masterclass for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
4 weeks.
I
Yeah.
was in masterclass. You did with Kara. That's
Yeah.
the one I saw. And
Yeah.
Kara was Winter. I don't think you spoke with Winter, but that
Winter's
whole
one of my closest friends.
yeah. So that whole thing, I
Yeah.
was like, okay,
Yeah.
that was very, very valuable and powerful, and
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Such good
Yes.
stuff.
Let's
So
go for it.
Black City Girls. I am
Yeah.
Shareef on Instagram. We're gonna have to
Thank
follow
you.
up on all the things, but thank you again.
Yes. Let's do it.
Maybe in a little while we can have another chat on something, but we'll stay in touch
Absolutely.
for sure.
Let's do it. I'm with it. You let me know.
All right. Sounds good. And thank you guys so much for tuning in and
Thank
all
you.
of your feedback and comments. We love it. And make sure to tune in to the next episode of King Speak. Follow King Speak on Instagram. And I'll see you all later this week.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.